A man loses 5 of his children, and his own church decides God must be doing it to him on purpose, as punishment. That broken man then wrote one of the most peaceful hymns ever put to paper, "It Is Well With My Soul," the one you've cried to at a funeral. So how do you write those 4 words while the people in your own pew are certain heaven has turned against you? Stay with me, because those 4 words don't mean what you think they mean. Start with the man, because you have to know what he had before you can feel what he lost. In the 1860s, Horatio Spafford was, by every measure, blessed. A senior partner in a thriving Chicago law firm. A devout Presbyterian elder. A friend of the great evangelist Dwight Moody. His home was a gathering place for reformers and abolitionists. Spafford had been on the right side of the great moral fight of his age. He had a beautiful wife, Anna, 4 young daughters, money, faith, and standing. If anyone's life looked like proof that God rewards the faithful, it was his. And then, in the space of 2 years, God appeared to take it all back. First, the money. In the spring of 1871, Spafford poured a fortune into real estate on the edge of a booming Chicago. That October, the Great Fire reduced the entire city to ash, and his investment with it. A blow, yes, but survivable. He still had his family. He still had everything that mattered. Which is exactly what makes what happened next so unbearable. In 1873, hoping the sea air would do his wife good, Spafford booked passage for the whole family to Europe. At the last second, business held him back in Chicago, so he sent Anna and the 4 girls ahead, promising to catch the next ship. Annie, Maggie, Bessie, and little Tanetta. They boarded a French luxury liner, the Ville du Havre, and set out across the Atlantic. Do you see the terrible accident of it? The one time he wasn't with them. At 2 in the morning, in the middle of the ocean, a British iron sailing ship came out of the dark and rammed the Ville du Havre broadside. How long do you think a steel ship takes to sink? This one was gone in 12 minutes. 226 people drowned that night, and all 4 of Spafford's daughters were among them. Anna was found unconscious, floating on a piece of the wreckage, pulled from the water more dead than alive. 9 days later she landed in Wales and sent her husband a telegram. 2 words, and then a question that should stop your heart. Saved alone. What shall I do? Saved alone. His wife, alone, on the far side of an ocean, every one of their children at the bottom of it. So Spafford did the only thing he could. He got on a ship to go and bring her home. And somewhere in the middle of that crossing, the captain called him up to the bridge and quietly told him that they were, at that moment, passing over the place where the Ville du Havre had gone down. 3 miles of black water beneath his feet, and his daughters somewhere in it. What would you do, standing on that deck? What could anyone do? He wrote a hymn. Right there. And listen to what he actually wrote in a letter about that moment, because it's almost unbearable in its steadiness. We passed over the spot where she went down, in mid-ocean, the waters 3 miles deep. But I do not think of our dear ones there. They are safe, folded, the dear lambs. And the words of the hymn came the same way, not a scream, not a collapse, but a strange, terrible calm. When peace like a river attendeth my way, when sorrows like sea billows roll, do you catch what he did there? Sea billows. He was writing about the sea that had just swallowed his children, and he called it peace. Whatever my lot, he wrote, thou hast taught me to say, it is well. It is well with my soul. Now, the hymn needed a tune, And here the story hands us a coda so dark it feels invented. A gospel composer named Philip Bliss set Spafford's words to music and named the melody Ville du Havre after the ship, after the grave. And then, just months later, in December of 1876, Philip Bliss and his wife boarded a train in Ohio. The bridge it was crossing collapsed into a frozen ravine, and the carriages fell and burned. Bliss, it's said, escaped and then went back into the fire for his wife. Neither of them was ever found. The man who gave "It Is Well" its melody died in a disaster as sudden and total as the one that inspired the words. The hymn was very nearly lost with him, but it survived. And you could stop the story right there. The grieving father, the beautiful hymn, the peace that passes understanding. That's where most people stop. That's the version on the fridge magnet. It's also only half the truth, and the second half is the part that matters most. Because the Spaffords went home to Chicago and tried, somehow, to rebuild. They had more children, a daughter, Bertha, in 1878, a son, and for a moment it must have seemed like the worst was finally behind them. And then, in 1880, scarlet fever swept through, and their little boy died too. And what did the church do? The church Horatio Spafford had helped build with his own hands, where he was an elder, where he'd sung and prayed and given, it turned on him. Rumors ran through the congregation. The Library of Congress preserves the exact question people were asking. Not how can we help this family? No. What they whispered was, what had the Spaffords done that God could visit such misfortunes upon them? Do you understand what they were saying? They were looking at a man who had buried 5 children and deciding out loud that he must have earned it. That the ocean and the fever were God's invoice for some secret sin. The most famous hymn about God's comfort in grief was written by a man whose own church answered his grief by calling it a judgment. So he left. He walked out of the church he had built. And here is where the man could have finally, understandably, broken, cursed God, gone silent, disappeared. Did he? No. He did something almost stranger than the hymn. He gathered a small band of friends who left the church with him, and in 1881 they sailed for Jerusalem, to live and pray, and above all to serve. They founded what became known as the American colony, and for decades they fed the hungry of that divided city, ran soup kitchens and hospitals, cared for the orphaned and the wounded through war and famine and plague. Spafford himself died there in 1888, of malaria, far from Chicago, far from the daughters in the Atlantic. But in his diary near the end he wrote a line I can't get out of my head. Not why me, not it isn't fair. He wrote, I am a miracle of grace. Blessed God, how patient thou hast been with me. So now go back to those 4 words and ask what they actually mean. Because we've turned "It is well with my soul" into a greeting card promise that everything works out. It didn't. Nothing worked out. His children stayed dead. His fortune never came back. His church never apologized. If "it is well" means everything turned out fine, then the hymn is a lie, and Horatio Spafford was a fool. But look at the words again. He didn't write, "It is well with my life." He didn't write, "It is well with my circumstances or my family or my finances." He wrote, "It is well with my soul." And that one word is the whole thing. He was making a distinction the church that shunned him had completely missed, that a man can lose everything the world can take, his money, his children, his good name, even the goodwill of God's own people, and there can still be a part of him, the deepest part, that no ocean and no fever and no whispering pew can reach. not because the storm wasn't real, but because he had decided, out over 3 miles of water, that his soul belonged to someone the storm could not touch. That's not the absence of grief. It's grief with an anchor. "It is well with my soul" was never a feeling that floated up on a calm sea. It was a sentence a wrecked man chose to say, and then had to keep choosing through a dead sun and a cruel church and a lonely grave in Jerusalem, every single time the billows rolled back in, and they always roll back in, don't they? That's why we still sing it. Not because we've all lost 4 daughters, but because every one of us eventually stands on a deck over deep water. And the question the hymn asks isn't whether the water is deep. It's whether when you get there, there's anything in you the water can't have. Spafford said there was. And he spent the rest of his broken, extraordinary life proving he meant it. It is well. It is well with my soul.